What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. Ravens flock, I can't even lie, man. Training camp has been tough. It's been tough to go through as a Ravens fan because every day we've been hearing nothing but injuries. Injuries here, injuries there. It's been rough. A lot of injuries have been happening throughout training camp. And it's been tough to deal with. But there was always a silver lining with it. Despite all the injuries we were hearing about, none of them were severe, none of them were major. It was all injuries in which they would have to deal with for a couple weeks and then they'd be back. Nothing too severe, but that was a silver lining. Nothing major happened. So we were gonna get our guys back. This upcoming week we're hopeful that some of our guys will be able to come back and be able to practice. And at least by week one, most if not all of our guys will be back, minus maybe Rashad Bateman and Jimmy Smith. But we expected most of our guys to come back because none of the injuries were major. However, you have injuries that are short and injuries that are severe. And sometimes, especially when it comes to training camp, you end up with a couple guys that deal with severe injuries. And that ended up being the case this time around. The player we're talking about is LJ Fort. Now, LJ Fort was actually playing in the preseason game against the Panthers last night, and he ended up suffering a knee injury. Now, when I first heard that he was suffering from a knee injury, I immediately hoped for the best. Because when it comes to knee injuries, most of the time they're severe. It's something that's going to take you out for quite some time. If it's not the worst of the worst, you're going to be out for a while. But from what we were hearing of last night, there was no good news. It was severe, it was bad, and they expected the worst because it just didn't look good. And today, they confirmed it to us that LJ Fort has torn his ACL. He will undergo some surgery, and he will be out for this season. So LJ Fort, right off the bat, is out. He is the first casualty for the Ravens. It's unfortunate, LJ Fort was a guy that was quite underrated on our defense. He definitely made plays, and he was another one of the veterans that brought something to the table for the Ravens. So when we first kind of let him go, I even made a video about that. I didn't understand why we would let him go because you don't get his type of production at the money we were paying him. So it was unfortunate, but they did manage to get him back, and I was happy that we got him back because the guy can still be productive. And as the veteran, he definitely could help out and produce and just make an impact. And he was making an impact, and I expected him to continue to make an impact. So I was glad to get him back. But now hearing this, to see that he's out for the season, it's unfortunate. Now, this isn't going to hurt the defense significantly, but, you're definitely going to lose a high quality player, somebody that was very productive in your defense, very productive with the linebackers. It's unfortunate. It's truly unfortunate, but it is what it is. This is the situation. All we can do is send our prayers to LJ Fort. Hopefully, he'll be able to recover, and he'll be back soon. I believe this is the first major injury he's suffered in his career, which, honestly, considering the fact he's been in the league for, 9 years, that says a lot, man. To go 9 seasons without suffering a major injury is tough. The NFL is tough, man, and these injuries pile up. The average lifespan of an NFL player is about 3 years because a lot of them end up suffering major injuries that first season or 2 to 3 seasons in, and then they're just never the same. Some of them end up just not making the cut. It's very hard to make it in the NFL. So to go 9 years without any major injury, that's very impressive. But unfortunately, that streak ends here, and it's tough to see because I expected him to be one of those guys that was going to make an impact and be productive. Probably not a major impact, but he was still going to be productive. And it's tough to lose him because that's a veteran, man. I hate losing the veterans, especially on the defense, because what they bring to the table is not just their production, but how much they're able to help out the younger guys on this team. So it always sucks when we lose those type of players. But yeah, it's unfortunate. And he might have been a starter too. Who knows? But it is what it is. So yeah, LJ Fort suffering a torn ACL. It is what it is. He's out for the season, and we'll just have to move forward with that. He is the first major casualty here. Everyone else is still pretty much good to go. Most guys are expected to come back within, either sometime next week or sometime this upcoming week or sometime next week before, our week 1 matchup on Monday Night Football against the Raiders. So Most of our guys are expected to be back before week 1. Jimmy Smith, I'm not sure if he will be back before week 1, but he'll be back relatively soon. Other than that, it should just be Rashad Bateman who will be the longest guy, and he probably won't be back until like week 2, week 3. But his wasn't nearly as severe as, LJ Fort, who's now out for the season. It's unfortunate, man. It's truly unfortunate. You hate seeing injuries happen at any stage in any sport. You just hate injuries in general, but they do happen, and it's tough, I don't think any team has ever gone through a training camp where nobody has suffered an injury. It's impossible to go through. You might have had a team where they maybe went through the entire training camp where nobody suffered a season-ending injury, but it's tough. It's tough to not get injured, even in these practices, man, because once those pads come on, it starts to get serious. And when you get joint practices, it definitely happens. And in the preseason, even though, they try to be as careful as they can, people can still get injured. And unfortunately, that's what happened to LJ Fort. So yeah, it's tough to hear this news, but we'll just send him our best prayers. Hope the best for him. He'll be back. He'll get back to 100%, and he'll be back for us. It's unfortunate, but we got to move forward, and I'm sure we'll manage. We'll still be fine. Our linebacking core is still fine, but we'll be fine overall. That's all I got to say for that. We'll be fine overall. It just sucks to lose a veteran player like him who definitely was productive last year and could have continued to be productive for us this year. But, it is what it is. That's just how it is. There's not much really to talk about involving that. Practices will be happening next week. We got one more preseason game left going up against Washington. Should be an interesting one, especially for me to watch. I'm going to enjoy that because there's things I can see on both sides. But yeah, we got one more preseason game left to go. And then after that, it's full-on preparation for week 1 in Las Vegas on Monday Night Football against the Raiders. So yeah, the NFL season is really here. It's coming, man. We got one more preseason game and then it's here. So yeah, we'll see what happens then. I'm still hopeful Hollywood Brown will be able to practice at some point next week. Maybe you get back Miles Boykin, who knows. I'm hopeful the entire offensive line. By the end of this week, I'm hopeful that the entire offensive line and most of the receivers will be back. But, we'll see what happens. I have no clue what's going to happen. I have no clue what's going to occur involving that. But, we are seeing some positive news in terms of these guys starting to get back together, get back healthy, and get back to being 100%. So hopefully we'll see that this week. Hopefully they'll be able to practice, and we'll get to see some iteration of what the passing game is going to look like heading into week 1 against the Raiders. But it is what it is. It's unfortunate we lose LJ Fort, but we have to keep moving forward. Best of luck to him in his recovery process. I know for sure he's going to be back. So, we wish him the best of luck, but we got to move forward, prepare for this upcoming preseason game, and especially prepare for week 1 because the season's about to start. With that being said, that's all I got to say here, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.